We have Micah Potter here. If anybody would like to ask a question, drop me a note in the chat. We'll get to as many as we can. We'll start with Jeff Patrikas.
Yeah, Micah, I know you weren't probably listening in, but your head coach went scorched earth on the officials regarding the call with Davison. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all, but I'm curious also, what's the mood in the locker room right now with how you think this team is playing and where it might go from here the rest of the way?
Sure. I'll say this concerning Brad. He's not a dirty player. If I know you guys know him a lot better than a lot of people who are sitting behind their TV screens, but he's the ultimate team player. He's the ultimate teammate, ultimate competitor. He does nothing maliciously. He is the leader probably in the country, obviously outside of COVID, because COVID ruined everything. But for extracurriculars, going with, athletes in action or doing, special needs kids activities, like he probably leads the country in community service hours. Like the kid is not malicious. He's not dirty. Everything it's not who he is. He's a man of faith and he walks by that and he stands by that. So that's all I got to say by that. From an attitude standpoint, it stings. Losing sucks. Obviously there's things that we can fix. We'll go back, watch the film. But it stings. But it's just regular season's over with. We're 0-0. Today, regardless of the outcome, obviously everyone wants to win. But regardless of the outcome, it didn't change our seed in the Big Ten tournament. So we play Thursday night. That's all we know, and we're looking forward to it. Guys are excited about it. Obviously, there's offensively, we were better today. Guys, we were finally hitting some shots, which was good to see. Obviously, there's things we got to clean up. I got to rebound better. I did not do a good job of that today. I did a horrible job of that today. But, we'll go back and watch the film, see different things we can see, offensively and defensively that we can fix and continue to get better. Like I said, it's March now, so we got to be playing our best basketball, and we're getting better. But we still got room to grow, and we got games to continue to grow. So all we can do is learn from it, look at the tape, take it on the chin, realize it's the only way we get better is if we learn from our mistakes. So that's the mentality in the locker room. Guys are ready for the Big Ten tournament, and they're ready for the NCAA tournament following that. But obviously, always a loss stings.
Jim Polzin.
You touched on this a little bit, but you guys did look probably the best you've looked offensively for a while there in the second half. But do you still look at this as kind of a missed opportunity? There was open threes that you guys missed in the first half. There were some turnovers in the second half. Do you think you did leave some points on the board that could have made this performance look even better?
Absolutely. And we'll go back and watch the film, like I said, but there's always things that you can fix. But I'm proud of, after mistakes were made, how guys picked each other up. That's probably the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway is yes, mistakes were made, but guys picked each other up and made up for their mistakes. So it's, whether it be defensively getting tips on the ball or, coming back and hitting a shot, different things like that. We picked each other up and we moved on regardless of what happened. Because mistakes are going to happen in a game. It's part of the game. No one's perfect. It's impossible to be perfect. So the biggest thing we have to do is just make sure we're learning from our mistakes and moving on from them quickly, having a short memory, and making sure we're continuing to play because there's still basketball left. And obviously in a game like today, it goes all the way down to the wire. So you can't be dwelling on mistakes. You got to move on and keep playing.
Josh Schaefer.
Micah, from a player's perspective, when there's a lot of stoppages in play when it comes to the reviews, and the reviews can kind of be extended at times, is it hard to stay in a rhythm with that when you kind of keep having the intermittent stops?
Sure. It takes the flow out of the game, but that's out of my control. The referees do their own job. I do mine. So that's about all I can say on it. Yeah, it kind of messes with the flow of the game, but they have a job to do. I have a job to do. Coach Gard has a job to do. You guys have a job to do. So it's just I leave them to do their own job, and I just deal with whatever they decide.
Follow from Jeff Patrikas.
Yeah, Micah, again, I know you didn't hear what Greg's comments were to us when he was defending Brad, as you did, but it was uncharacteristic for him to go off saying that there were some things that Brad's being treated unfairly, didn't like some calls. How do players, do you think, react to things like that when their coach goes out on a limb? Because he's probably going to get a call from the league, and he said, fine, they can call me. They know my number. They know where I am.
Well, from a player's perspective, it feels good. It is having a coach that has your back. There's that mutual respect level where, we'll fight for him, he'll fight for us, regardless of the consequences. So I'm honestly, I don't know if Brad will see it or whatever, if you guys have talked to, I don't know. But I'm sure he appreciates that. Just, having that guy that's there, that has your back, that you're playing for, that makes you want to play for him. So having that kind of a reaction, I think will definitely, because it's the same thing. Like you guys heard me defend Brad. Like he is the utmost, if you want to look at a teammate, he is the gold standard for a teammate. If you look for a team player, he's the gold standard for a team player. If you look for a leader, he's the gold standard. From an attitude standpoint, gold standard. The image that he's developed is ridiculous. Like if people knew Brad Davison, they would it's impossible to not like Brad Davison. Like, I don't care who you are, what you've seen, what you've heard. If you meet him in person and you see who he is, how he acts, how he interacts with people. Obviously, COVID has changed things. Like I said, he probably leads the country in community service hours. He's the epitome of what you would want, as a teammate. So and I've been able to experience a little bit more because I room with him. So I get to see him, behind the scenes a little bit more than most people. But he is the ultimate teammate, the ultimate team player, and all he wants is to win the game. I mean, he'll play his heart out, 24/7. So that image is ridiculous. He doesn't deserve it, and it's just one of those things where but again, like I said, the way he reacted to it, because he gets beat up all the time for that stuff. The way he reacted to it, knocking down the 2 free throws, and then Aline got the tie up on the out of bounds play. That's the kind of stuff that we need going forward. There's still basketball to be played, and that kind of reaction is what we need. Adversity hits, you got to be able to respond, and we responded to that. Obviously, we didn't do enough, but that kind of reaction to stuff like that is what we need going forward, especially going into both the Big Ten and the NCAA tournaments.
Let's take one final question from George Bilecki.
Mike, at the ending stretch of this game, you were hitting shots. Aleem, Jonathan, Luka Garza, Joe Bohannon. It was the best players on both teams making big plays. In the last 2 minutes, we saw a lot of whistles and reviews. How difficult was it to keep up the continuity and the flow of the game? Did that just really, you think, I guess, took you guys off the rails and really kind of just stopped any comeback you guys could have mounted?
I mean, it does mess with the flow of the game. But like I said, they do their job. I do my job. Adversity hits things. You're going to get bad calls. I don't know if they were good or bad calls. I don't pay attention to that stuff necessarily. I have my opinion, but in the end, it doesn't really matter because sometimes what I think is a bad call is a great call and vice versa. So I just do my job. And when adversity hits, you got to be able to respond. I mean, in the tournament, especially in the Big Ten tournament, you're going to get bad calls, but then it's it. So you have to be able to respond. You can't let it sit in your head. If they do stoppages, if they go to review a play, you got to stay focused. You got to stay mentally locked in. You got to stay physically locked in. You got to think about the next play. You got to have a short memory because if you don't, you're going to dwell on the previous play. You're not going to win games. And especially in the tournament when you've got, the best teams in the country going up against each other, fighting for their lives. Literally, it's a one and done situation. You got to be able to respond. So I was proud of the way we responded. Like I said, Brad made both of his free throws. They made both of theirs. Then Aline came up and got the tie up. We got the ball back. So, that kind of response, and same thing throughout different mistakes throughout the game. The response that guys had of picking each other up and moving on and playing with it, continuing to play hard and play for each other, play for the coach, all that kind of play for Wisconsin. That's the kind of stuff that we need. We'll fix things. There's little discipline things that we can easily fix. We got to continue to drill and practice. We've gotten a lot better. Clearly, I think it's been evident how much better we've gotten, specifically offensively. And like I said, you want to peak at the right time, and we're trending in that direction. So, like I said, move on. This one obviously really, really, really stings. But we're 0-0 now. We got the Big Ten tournament, the NCAA tournament. The records don't matter. all we got to do is focus on what we have ahead of us and make sure we're coming out on top in the end.
Micah, thank you. Safe travels home.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.